Welcome to our foundation channel from class 8th, chapter 10, direct and inverse variation. Right? So let us see the topics in this chapter. First, let me explain the variations. So what are the types in this? We have the two types, direct variation and inverse variation. So these two types with the examples I'll explain one by one. Next, using unitary method. So in this only I'll show even arrow method. So the shortcut technique to find out the unitary method concept. Using the arrow method, different problems I'll explain in this. And same chapter, let me continue even time and work problems also in this. Right? Based on the time and work, the word problems I will come. How to solve the shortcut techniques and briefly let me explain everything in this. First, let us see the variations, right? So in this we have two type of variations, direct and inverse variation. So when you see this direct variation, briefly let me explain first. So direct and inverse. If you see these two concepts, generally two quantities are said to be in variation if change in one quantity causes corresponding change in the other quantity. So let us take two quantities like cost and number of articles. Like for example, if you take the pen, so one pen cost is rupees 10. Then if you take for two pens, it must be 20 rupees. So one change in one quantities. So number of pens is increased, then even cost is also increased, right? Two quantities must be said to be variation if change in one quantity, that is causes corresponding change in the other quantity also. So if one quantity is increased, if other quantity also increase, that is come under direct variation. And inverse variation is opposite. So one quantity is increased, other quantity must be decreased. Like for example, work done by some people, let us take, and number of work and men. Let us say for example, 7 men can do one work in 10 days. Let us say, else 7 men can do work in 10 days. If we take only one man, 7 members can do work in 10 days. So this is when person is reduced, then work should be number of days to do this work is must be more. It will take around 70 days. 7 men can do work in 10 days. So only one person can do in 70 days. So one quantity is reduced, other quantity is increasing. So this is a type of change. So one will be increase and other must be decreased. Like more is in speed. For example, inverse means if you take the speed of the car, then it will take less time. Speed and time if you compare. If you go more speed, you'll reach the destination less time. Okay, if you go 30 kilometers per hour, in case if you take 1 hour, then if you take the speed 60 kilometers per hour, then in half an hour only you'll reach, right? Speed is increased, so time is reduced. So these type of come under inverse when both quantities are increasing at the same rate, like one quantity is increased, other quantity also must be increased. If one quantity is decreased, then other quantity also decreased. That is come under direct variation, right? Let me show briefly this. Direct and inverse variation with examples I'll explain briefly. So when you see this definition again, two quantities are said to be in direct variation if the increase in one quantity, right, causes increase in other quantity. Same way the decrease in one quantity causes the decrease in other quantity. And inverse variation is two quantities are said to be inversely if any increase in one quantity causes a decrease in other quantity, just opposite. Or else decrease in one quantity increase the second quantity. Here is one is increased, right, speed, so this time is decreased, right? So these are the main definitions. Let us start the problems, how the questions will come from direct and inverse. Based on the question, how to identify which is belongs to direct and inverse and unitary method, time and work, all the problems you'll see now.